Okay, now we've just made our whole house with the generic walls that it gave us originally. We made it with the default walls, roof, and floor. Now we need to go in and change those to be the kind of walls, roof, and floor we really want. If you haven't done so, please go in and save your file again so you don't lose all the good work you've done. So what I want to do is I'm going to start by changing a wall type. You can do that here on an elevation or you can do it on your floor plan. I'm going to do it right here so we can see the difference. If I highlight one of my walls, which it may not, there we go. So I just clicked around until it highlighted one of my walls. Again, I can do it here or I can do it on the floor plan. So I can do it here, but I'm going to really go over the floor plan, I think, because I want to change all my walls at once. If I did it there, it's just going to change one wall. If I hold down the control key as I click, now I have all my walls selected. And notice with all my walls selected, now we're going to use this property window here. We saw earlier that it had changed our wall height to be 8 foot like we wanted, but really now I'm going to look at this part here. If you click right here once, it brings up a whole list of different kind of walls that are automatically built in. You can kind of scroll through here, exterior with brick, exterior with CMU, metal studs, generic walls with brick. We were on a generic 8-inch wall. And there's all sorts of different walls we have here that are automatically in there. We want to choose the one that is exterior brick on metal stud. It's going to put brick on the outside of our building and it's going to give us metal studs. We really would like to have wood studs, but that's not an option, so we're going to choose this one because it's the closest one we have. When I click on this, notice it changed my whole building. It also changed the sizes of my buildings there. It changed the size of our dimensions here because this wall is literally thicker than the original ones. We'll come back and fix this part later. We won't worry about it now. If I want to once again, just like we did on the other ones, change this to fine and shaded, it makes my walls look where I can see the colors. I can now see the different layers. That was the brick, the studs, and the insulation on the inside of the wall. If I go to one of my elevations, I can now see that it has in fact made it a brick wall there. And because we're on shaded, it actually looks a little bit like that. You may want to experiment on here and consider looking at what it looks like when you go to realistic. It actually has made it look really nice like a realistic wall. However, as I said earlier, if you use realistic, it may make it a little bit laggy. So that's why I like to stay on shaded until I'm really ready to do some pictures of what it looks like. So now I have my walls set, but I also want to change the floor and the... I'm going to start with the floor, and again, I can change the floor either here by clicking on it here. And once again, notice in properties, it's where it's popped up. When we just used the generic, it did a 12-foot generic wall floor there. As I click on this, it pulls up all the options that are automatically built in with all the choices. For our purposes, we want to choose the wood joist 10-inch with a wood finish. So choose this one right here. Notice it made my floor slightly less thick because I went from a 12-inch floor to a 10-inch floor. And now we have the 10-inch floor there. We also want to do the same thing with the roof. So once again, I'm going to click on my roof. And in fact, I'm going to go to another view so I can make sure I get both sides of my roof. If I go to the end, I can see the whole roof is highlighted there. And we're going to do the same thing with the roof. Again, it just put a generic 12-inch roof on there and we're going to change it. And we want to pick wood rafters 8-inch asphalt. There's different options here. We're going to pick the wood rafters 8-inch asphalt. Notice just like the floor, it made it narrower because we went to a thinner roof. So once again, if you want to look at realistic and see what it looks like, you can see that our brick is very realistic. And now I want to show you one other options to look at the outside of your building. If we come here to view, it says you can now see a 3D view. So we're under view, click on 3D. Again, this is just the wireframe. To give us the detail, click fine and realistic or shaded, and it gives us this very nice 3D view. You can click on the cube just like an inventor to turn it, or I like using the center mouse wheel. If you click and move and hold it down, it'll slide it, or if I just scroll, or I can push the Shift key, push and hold the Shift key while you use the center mouse wheel, and it'll free rotate it for you. That's my preferred method to rotate it. Notice you can see that we have the asphalt shingles on the roof, we have the brick on the sides, and there's our floor on the bottom.